everybody. Welcome to the Political Nerd. And oh my gosh, welcome to the studio with no one here but me. We are snowed in. Actually, we are ice and snowed in, which is kind of cool. I lived in Florida for such a long time. Now that I'm in the foothills of the Appalachians, love the snow. I don't even mind the ice, to be honest with you, but no one else can get here. So I admit this is going to be a self produced show today, which is not the way we normally do things, but hey, it is what it is. Man, we've got a lot going on in the world of nerdism. And we are the political nerds. So we're going to talk a little bit of political. We're going to talk a little bit of nerdy stuff because you know what? It is actually in my opinion, it's a very good thing to be a little bit nerdy all the time. All the time. You should never not be nerdy. All right. So anyway, so we got a rundown on the show today. We're going to talk about actually Tucker Carlson coming out right now. I don't know if you guys subscribe to him or not. I love him. I think he's an awesome guy. Actually, you know how everybody is so many separations away from somebody. Well, I'm actually with three people that we now do produce shows for, and my next door neighbor up here in Georgia. We are literally one person away, so it's kind of cool. But I've liked Tucker forever. Sometimes we don't agree, but sometimes I do agree with him. I think he's a good guy, and he really gets in there and he does stuff that absolutely can piss people off, or you're gonna sit there and go, "That a boy." So he has got his own network going on right now, and it's so TCN. And if you don't follow, you don't subscribe, you should. Because I'm not getting a dime from this to saying this, but I like him. I just what I like to do. And it's called All the President's Men. And I'll tell you what, I'm into episode 3, and it is a 6th episode, and it is absolutely phenomenal. He really does get into all the players, and there are 6 players, including himself, that he really gets into. But the thing of it is, if you don't know anything about the name All the President's Men, it actually came from a different movie, kind of the same, in the same way, the same premises, right? So I'm going to show you a video for all you folks that don't know the original All the President's Men. I am now going to show you the original, and then we'll come back and then we'll talk about that just for a second. Then I'm going to show you the actual, the trailer release. Well, that's not a trailer release. It just gives you it's a trailer for the actual All the President's Men that's been done by Tucker Carlson. Here you go.
All the President's Men, the story of the 2 young reporters who cracked the Watergate conspiracy.
White House.
Howard Hunt, please.
He might be in Mr. Colson's office.
Who's Charles Colson? Did you know, Howard Hunt?
Well, the White House said he was doing some investigative work.
What do you say?
They stumbled into leads.
Certainly it comes as no surprise to you that Howard was with the CIA.
No surprise at all.
They tripped over clues.
We'd like to see all the material requested by the White House.
All White House transactions are confidential.
This whole thing is a cover-up. It's right on our nose.
And piece by piece, they solve the greatest detective story in American history.
There is no way the White House can control the investigation.
I don't want to say any more, okay?
Have you been threatened if you tell the truth?
Is there a cover-up?
Don't you understand what you're on to?
Mitchell knew?
Of course, Mitchell knew.
Woodward! Bernstein! Get in here!
At times, it looked as if it might cost them their jobs.
You guys are about to write a story that says the former Attorney General, the highest-ranking law enforcement officer in this country, is a crook.
Their reputations.
Why is the Post trying to do it? I don't know.
Perhaps even their lives.
If you've never watched the movie, go watch the original first, and then get over there to Tucker's place and actually watch his, because it is actually really good. So I'm actually going to show you the trailer for that one, and so that way you can go, yeah, no. And it's kind of funny. We've got people in here that's actually on the Patriot Network, which is the Patriot.tv network, which if you're not a member of Patriot.tv, become a member of Patriot.tv. because that is a great, great online TV station. Yeah, I know you're watching me on the area52tv.com, but you know what? I produce for them as well, and absolutely phenomenal. So here is Tucker's trailer.
They take me to a back room. They say, this is what happens when you work for Trump.
From about the moment Papadopoulos joins the Trump campaign, you got all these people all around the world starting to swirl around him.
Where's the Russian collusion?
They changed the course of history when they removed me as the National Security Advisor. That person that sits in that office is ready to further enable the idea of war, perpetual war.
Trump said that Obama spied on his campaign.
It's the Obama administration getting FISA warrants. That's why it's called the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, surveillance of spying.
I mean, that is like it's not even fiction. It doesn't exist in any sci-fi writer's mind. After he was elected anyway, they continued the unlawful surveillance warrants with the funding from the Hillary and DNC campaign.
Because they got affected by Trump derangement syndrome. And I think they actually got into almost a level of insanity.
I used to say there's no deep state. They're in your face. When you're in the White House, they're in your grill. Our country has devolved into what the founders never envisioned, is an empire.
People start telling you to shut up for asking honest questions. That is, again, my one talent. I just feel like, no. Why don't you answer the question?
Absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, I'm into episode 3, and I'll tell you what, it is pretty dang good. I'm just telling you right now. And you know, the thing of it is, it's not, this is not fake. And even the original was not fake. I mean, it was based off of what was going on back in the Nixon era. So, but right now, I'll tell you what, if you're not watching, if you're looking for something to sit down and just watch, it's exactly what you want. It really is. So, you know, in my personal opinion, I'd run out today if I were you. Hey, look, I don't know about you, but if you're in the eastern half of the United States, from about Atlanta up to New York, you got snow, so you got nothing else to do. You might as well go ahead and go watch it. And speaking of something to watch, there's a movie that's coming out. See, I film on Fridays, so this is already out in select theaters. But I'll tell you what, man, I am going to go see this. I am trying to find a theater near me that is absolutely phenomenal. And I figured, you know, this all kind of fits right into the same place. We'll take a watch of this little trailer real quick.
Vladimir Putin will remain in office until 2036.
Putin is being called bold.
What's your strategy? Bring them back to the Stone Age.
Daring. You won't be able to look away.
How can his kingdom last?
Putin, rated R, in select theaters January 10th.
Absolutely going to be a good movie. It kind of gives you a look into the back end side of all that kind of fun, wonderful stuff. So, but I wanted to bring you some nerdy stuff. Like I love watching movies. I'm a movie buff. Don't ask me the names of stuff though. Sometimes I just can't remember, but I'll tell you lines out of it in a heartbeat. I don't know why that sticks. Don't know, but I'm a nerd. It is what it is. So next thing I'm going to talk about is I want to talk about Zuckerberg. Now, we all know that, and I don't want to be like everybody else on TV going, oh man, I got suppressed and all this and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we all do. There's not a platform out there that is truly First Amendment. The minute we have to sign up for the wonderful, good old the terms of services, and you know that terms of services is really what protects everybody. So and it's like and I'm going to explain to you Section 203, but I want you to watch this Mark Zuckerberg thing first, because and I'm going to play the whole thing, and I know I'm eating up my time, but you know what? Again, I'm self-producing in the studio where no one else can get to because there's too much snow and ice. But I'm going to put it out there, and then we're literally going to, and I'll talk about it because it really does start making you think about the Section 203 of the Communications Acts of 1934. And, 1934, oh my God, but this was just added in, and it was updated years ago. But it really, when the world of the internet showed up, and, the lawyers were probably chomping at the bit going, oh, this is going to be nothing but a great way for us to make money because all these defamation liability, that's going to happen out there. Because there is a difference between me talking about someone else in the private sector, which can be defamation or libel, right? But when you're talking about a public figure, it doesn't work that way, and it's a whole different. I got a really good a lawyer that's going to come on and going to kind of give us a little bit of a true. We're going to delve deep into this world. So here you go. I'll let you watch this.
Everyone, I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now, we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed, so we stopped recommending these posts. But it feels like we're in a new era now, and we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again. So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive. Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams. Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. It'll take time to get this right, and these are complex systems. They're never going to be perfect. There's also a lot of illegal stuff that we still need to work very hard to remove. But the bottom line is that after years of having our content moderation work focus primarily on removing content, it is time to focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots about giving people voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon.
Yeah, he's looking forward to it, all right. He ran right to old Trump's front door and said, "Hey, can you not put me in jail or not fine me?" That's exactly what it is. Section 203, right? It's a big deal. It really controls. Actually, it makes it where media companies, especially now the online side, do not get hammered in defamation lawsuits in the whole 9 yards. But so here's the thing: if he doesn't do what he's supposed to do, and he no longer falls under this Section 203, people can come after him in a big way. Yeah, do we all get censored? Absolutely. Do we have free speech on these? Absolutely not. The minute you sign terms and services, you just don't have that. It's, you're literally, and I watch it on TikTok, I watch it on Twitter, or X, sorry. I watch it on Facebook. I even watch it on LinkedIn, and everybody's like, well, it's all free speech. We have free speech. Not on those platforms. Those platforms are literally their platforms. They're not our platform. We have to watch what we say. We have to watch what we do. We have to make sure that we are towing the line, or you know what? We can get in trouble. So I'm going to jump to the next situation. That's enough on that one because I could go all day and I don't want to go all in day. So, governors were meeting, all the Republican governors were meeting with Trump. And then, of course, the good old media is going to try to find a way to, make it about the Republicans or the Trump or the MAGA movement or whole 9 yards. And when it comes to this fire that's going on out there in California, and you know what? I don't care what you think politics-wise. Yes, they've had a guy out there that's not run it right, but I don't believe anybody ever deserves to lose things. Now, the rich people, the billionaires and millionaires, they've got second homes. They're just going to be fine. But that normal poor guy that's sitting out there in a $65,000, or not actually out in California, there's no such thing as $65,000, like a $200,000 home, which we think, ooh, $200,000 out there is not a lot, right? So those guys losing everything? No, that is so not cool. I mean, I've heard people go, well, they deserve what they got. Absolutely not. They do not. But this is what the governors there said there at Mar-a-Lago.
I'm in the middle of January.
Governor Youngkin, do you think it's helpful for President Donald Trump to be attacking Governor Newsom in the middle of what we're seeing in California right now?
Well, first of all, a governor's primary responsibility is to go to work to keep their state safe. And I have to say, one of the things we talk about as governors all the time is preparing and responding and then recovering after a natural disaster. What's been happening in Los Angeles has been horrific, and I think first and foremost our hearts pour out to all of those folks who have lost their homes, lost their livelihoods, and are really being driven out. I also believe that there does need to be some action, and I think that collectively between federal governments and state governments, we all work together to address these things. But let me just go right back to it. What's happening in California right now is absolutely heart-wrenching and horrific. and I think we're going to need help from the entire country in order for them to recover.
Does anyone else want to speak to that? Because you all, as governors, obviously deal with emergencies. Often you have to work with the federal government. Sometimes it's your party, sometimes it's not. What do you think about the idea of President-elect Donald Trump criticizing a governor in the middle of a disaster?
Well, first of all, I mean, when Donald Trump was president, he responded very strongly to natural disasters. I can tell you he responded very positively in Florida, but he also responded favorably when there were Democrat governors. And I think he understands the importance of these situations. You know, I will note, I mean, you talk about, you know, what you're doing. I remember when we had our hurricanes this past hurricane season. We had Hurricane Helene, and Florida, we're locked and loaded for this. We respond. But then you go to North Carolina, and it was like a third world country all of a sudden. There was no sense of urgency from the federal government. I think the state government didn't do very well. And so I'm sending my assets up there to help rescue people. Florida, the State Guard is up there doing that. And I think the administration was asleep at the switch. Then Milton came, and they knew that they had suffered some political negativity of that. So I have Harris trying to pick a fight with me in the middle of Hurricane Milton, saying, "Ooh, he's not taking my calls." I tell you, she never called me in my whole tenure as governor on any natural disasters, and I'm not sure if she's done very much on this one, even though she's there. So, you know, these things are go how they go, but I can tell you, and I'll say the same with Biden. I worked well with Biden during his time in natural disasters, and I worked well with Donald Trump. So I'm very confident as a state that knows we face these, that a Trump administration is going to be very strong and is going to be there for the people regardless of party.
Is it appropriate for the president-elect or a president to be criticizing?
Is it appropriate for people in your industry to try to create division and to try to create narratives anytime these things happen? Now, you're not as interested in doing that because Newsom is a D. If Newsom was a Republican, you guys would go you would have him nailed to the wall for what they're doing over there. And I know we've dealt with it. We just assume in Florida, anytime something happens, it's going to be politicized by the media. So you guys sitting in judgment of Donald Trump, I mean, excuse me, I think your track record of politicizing these things is very, very bad.
Okay, last question.
Oh my, Ron did not hold back on that, and I am so glad he did not, because he's right. Every time it's a Republican governor or heavy state, man, the mainstream media comes out and just tries to hammer away and hammer away. It's just not right. And, you know, and then, you know, it's almost sometimes I feel ashamed to say, yeah, I'm in the media world because, you know, it makes us all look bad. You know, one bad apple. So I'm going to get off that because it's not it's a good thing to get off of. So the nerdy thing is I want to play this, and I want to play this. This is about Greenland and Panama Canal, but more about Greenland because I understand where he's going.
Don Jr. and some of your team just got back from Greenland. What's the price tag?
Well, maybe no price tag. You know, look, we're going to have to see what happens because Denmark, we need this for national security. We need Greenland very badly. You look at the Russian ships, the China ships. They're all over the place. They're, you know, surrounding. Now they have for a long time. That's a lane. But we need that for national security. So I don't know that Denmark has any right, title, and interest. So we're going to find that. But I can tell you, you saw the clips that were released. The people of Greenland would love to become a state of the United States of America. We were greeted with tremendous love and affection and respect. The people would like to be a part of the United States. Now, Denmark maybe doesn't like it, but then we can't be too happy with Denmark, and maybe things have to happen with respect to Denmark having to do with tariffs. Because they have to do this, I think, for the free world. We need that to protect the free world. It's very important, and getting more important every year.
When you were with all...
So he's right. It's a good place for us to go, and as soon as the words came out of his mouth, us nerds are like, oh my God, this is going to be great. Because you know why? This right here is going to be how we can build big server farms in an area that's actually already cold. I love the fact we call it Greenland. And it's ice. It's great. If you've ever been there, it is a good place to go and visit. But it's strategically, it's a great place. Absolutely a great place. And and it's got minerals like. Now, how he's going to get it, I don't know. I know they're talking things, and it's almost like going, hey, Canada want to become the 51st state. If that could happen, it'd be kind of cool. It'd be more hunting area. But let me show you something real quick that this is what us nerds do when it snows. So, it's like, yep. See, we react to everything. Everything's Star Wars. Isn't that cool? That's my buddy of mine that I know up in the mountains of North Carolina, and he is a nerd just like I am, just like we all are. Anyway, I wanted to kind of show you that. I thought that was kind of funny. Leave you on a good note, something funny to laugh at. So in my opinion, we need to pray for all the people that have lost everything out there in California. But remember this, there's also people in North Carolina and East Tennessee that have still not recovered. So if Mr. Biden, you're going to send all that money out there, which I thought we were out of money. I'm not sure how that works unless we're going to stop giving it to the people overseas, which should have never been that way anyway. Let's take care of home first. And we take care of home first. It's great. Everybody's going to be happy. Let's take care of the California people. Let's take care of the North Carolina people. And some of the Florida people down there are still having issues too. No one has recovered from anything yet. In California, this will be a very, very, very long recovery. It's going to suck. But the thing of it is, we don't know how bad it's going to be because they still don't have control. Hey, God bless. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you later on The Political Nerd.
Vladimir Putin will remain in office until 2036.
Putin is being called bold.
What's your strategy to bring them back to the Stone Age?
Daring. You won't be able to look away.
How can his kingdom last?
Putin. Rated R. In select theaters January 10th.